it's been such a fucking hassle. Like, every time I see a doctor to get something diagnosed, it just takes so much fighting. Like, if you want to get diagnosed, you think you have EDS, you think you have gastroparesis or dysautonomia or autism or any of these things, you have to advocate for yourself. Go in like it's a fucking university debate class, because otherwise you will not get the care that you need. And it sucks and is bullshit that we have to do that, but literally every step of my care, except for that, like, a few good doctors will not listen to me. Like, I'll make a separate video about my whole birth control mess, but like, they will not listen to me about my own body and what I want. I've seen a physiatrist who tells me I need fucking braces for my knees and my fingers, but it's like, the knee brace is like $1,800, and it's $200 for each finger brace. Like, I can't afford this, and they're not covered. Like, the only way I can get them is once I get ODSP, and that takes for fucking ever. You have to fight for it. But like, it's so exhausting. Like, you have to fight so hard to get things diagnosed. Like, consider that, like, I've been walking on a cane now for over 11 years. It's been 11 years that I've been on a cane. It took me 9 of those years to get a fucking diagnosis. And I'm pretty extremely hypermobile. Like, it's obvious when you look at me that there's something wrong. Anyone who knows me for more than a week knows I'm disabled. Like, it's impacting my life quite a bit. The fact that, like, a doctor just refused to believe me about my joints because of his idea of how much pain I could handle. Then another doctor wouldn't believe me because I wasn't throwing up enough for him. He doesn't want to believe that there's anything wrong. Like, he won't even do a test to check. Like, I don't understand this, but my path to getting diagnosed has taught me to not take bullshit from people, even though they're authority figures who have taken years of schooling and are supposed to know more than you. No one knows more about your body than you do. You are the expert. They might be, like, very good at a certain kind of knowledge, but the overall thing, like, you know when there's something wrong. You know when something's different in your body to how it normally is, or is not working the way you need it to. You know. And doctors need to be better at listening to us. My new family doctor is great at that. If I tell her something's wrong, she says, okay, let's figure out what it is. And if she disagrees with me about what's wrong, she'll tell me why. And she doesn't say, you're wrong about what's wrong, therefore nothing's wrong. She says, I don't think you're right about what's wrong. Let me explain to you why you're feeling the way you're feeling in a way that respects me. Like, I got triggered once and thought I had a seizure. Turns out, if you just hold adrenaline for 8 hours, you end up, like, shivering and falling over. And she explained to me why that was happening, that it wasn't a seizure, that I was fine, that it was just a delayed panic attack that I had somehow managed to hold back for 8 hours. And she makes me feel listened to and respected, but, like, I also have a resource to turn to. And that's what a doctor-patient relationship should be. One of communication and believing me that something's not okay. And I understand it's difficult when people keep going on WebMD, but you gotta sit with people and explain them why things are the way they are, or why they don't have this thing, or why you think they have something slightly different. But it's so frustrating to me that I've had to diagnose other people with EDS because their doctors can't see it. And, like, I've even had pharmacists being like, why are you taking domperidone? And I'm like, because of gastroparesis. And he's like, oh, why do you have gastroparesis? I'm like, because of EDS. And he's like, oh, that's really, really rare. I'm like, actually, it's not. It's just rarely diagnosed. Just like autism in girls is not actually rare, it's rarely diagnosed. And the same thing happens with EDS. It's more diagnosed in girls because our hormones make it worse. And, like, a lot of people don't get diagnosed at all because it's seen as a rare disease. So then doctors don't learn about it and then don't see it when they see it, you know? They're always told, when you hear hoofbeats, think horses, not zebras. but we're the zebras. Zebras fucking exist. If you see a stripy horse, it's a fucking zebra. It's not a stripy horse. Like, but there is hope. Like, people are getting much better educated about this. We're getting a EDS and rare disease clinic here in Toronto. That it's not, I don't think it's like an in-person clinic, but it's like a resource for family doctors and stuff to hopefully better educate people. I know of at least like 4 or 5 people who've gotten diagnosed as a result of my diagnosis, that we notice things in other people once we have a diagnosis and can help them. And the online support is fantastic. So I highly recommend, if you're on Twitter or Tumblr or even here on YouTube, just like finding the EDS community or the Spoonie community. If you don't know what spoon theory is, I highly recommend reading that. But it's a entire community of people that can really support you and help you go through the self-advocacy that we shouldn't have to do when we're sick.